Act 1 of The Stolen Heiress, or The Salamanca Doctor Outplotted, by Susanna Centlivre. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Stolen Heiress, or The Salamanca Doctor Outplotted, a comedy. Dramatis Personae.
Governor of Palermo, read by Greg Giordano.
Count Piero, nephew to the governor, read by Redrun.
Gravello, a Sicilian lord, father to Lucasia, read by Todd.
Larich, his brother, read by Rick Cordray.
Lord Euphanes, an old Sicilian general, read by Algy Pug.
Palante, son to Euphanes, but unknown, in love with Lucasia, read by Beeswax Candle.
Claremont, his friend, read by David Purdy.
Eugenio, son to Gravello, in disguise under the name of Heiress, read by Inkel.
Alfonso, formerly an officer under Euphanes, read by Jim Locke.
Francisco, in love with Lavinia, read by Adrian Stevens.
Sancho, a pedant, bred at Salamanca, designed by Lariche, a husband for Lavinia, read by Alan Mapstone.
Tristram, his man, read by Thomas Peter.
Roscoe, servant to Count Gravello, read by Cecil Colette.
Lucasia, daughter to Gravello, in love with Palante, read by Don Sutton.
Lavinia, daughter to Lariche, in love with Francisco, read by Sonia.
Laura, woman to Lucasia, read by Rapunzelina.
The Servant, read by Emerald Gould.
An Officer, read by Sandra Schmidt.
Stage directions read by Abai. The scene in Palermo. Prologue, spoke by Lavinia.
Our author, fearing his success today, sends me to bribe your spleen against his play, and if a ghost in Nelly's time could soothe ye, he hopes in these that flesh and blood may move ye. Nay, what is more, to win your hearts, a maid, if ever such a thing the playhouse had, for cold and shade the waxen blossoms born, not to endure the regions of the sun. Let every beau then his applause begin, and think the rarity was born for him. Your true-bred knights for fancied dames advance, and think it gallantry to break a lance, and shall a real damsel ever be found to plead her cause in vain on English ground, unless that dreadful prophecy's begun, in which 7 women are to share 1 man? But thanks my stars, that danger I disown, for in the pit I see 'tis 1 to 1. And while the fair can all their rights enjoy, we'll keep our title up to being coy. So let your praise be noisy as your wine, and grant your favours, if you'd purchase mine.
A song designed to be sung by Sancho.
The man you ladies ought to fear, behold and see his picture here. With arms across and downcast eyes, thus languishes, and thus he dies. Then gives his hat a careless pull, thus he sighs, and thus looks dull. Thus he ogles, thus he sneers, thus he winks, and thus he leers. This is he alone can move, and this the man the ladies love.
The Stolen Heiress, or The Salamanca Doctor Outplotted. Act 1, Scene 1. Enter Count Gravello and Roscoe.
Roscoe!
My lord?
Hast thou divulged the news that my son died at Rome?
Yes, my lord, with every circumstance, the time, the place, and manner of his death, that 'tis believed, and told for truth with as much confidence as if they had been spectators of his end.
That's well, that's very well. Now Roscoe follows my part, I must express a most unusual grief. Not like a well-left heir for his dead father, or a lusty widow for an old decrepit husband. No, I must counterfeit in a far deeper strain, weep like a parent for an only son. Is not this a hard task, Roscoe?
Ah, no, my lord, not for your skill. In your youth your lordship saw plays, conversed with players, knew the famed Alberto.
'Tis true, by heaven. I have seen that knave paint grief in such a lively colour, that for false and acted passion he has drawn true tears. The ladies kept time with his sighs, and wept to his sad accents, as if he had truly been the man he seemed. Then I'll try my part. Thou hast still been privy to my bosom secrets. Knowest wealth and ambition are the darlings of my soul. Nor will I leave a stratagem unassayed to raise my family. My son is well and safe, but by command from me he returns not this 3 months. My daughter, my Lucasia, is my only care, and to advance her fortune have I framed this project. How dost like it, Roscoe,
Rarely, my lord. My lady will now be supposed the heir to all your vast revenues, and pestered with more suitors than the Grecian Queen in the long absence of her lord. You'll have the dons, lords, and dukes swarm about your house like bees.
My aim is fixed at the rich and great, he that has wealth enough, yet longs for more. Count Pirro, the governor's heir and nephew, that rich lord that knows no end of his large fortunes, yet still gapes on, for gold is a sure bait to gain him. No other lodestone can attract his iron heart. 'Tis proof against the force of beauty, else I should not need this stratagem, for nature has not proved a niggard to my daughter.
To him, I'm sure, she's played the step-dame. I much fear Lucasia will not relish such a match.
Ah, not relish it? Has she any other taste but mine? Or shall she dare to wish aught that may contradict my purpose? But hold, perhaps you know how she's inclined. You may be confederate with her, and manage her intrigues with that beggar Palante, who was only by Lord Euphene's bounty, my mortal enemies, kept from starving.
Who, I, my good lord? Heaven knows I have learnt by your lordship's example, always to hate the poor, and like the courtier, never do aught without a bribe.
Enter a servant.
My lord, Count Pirro, to wait upon your lordship.
Conduct him in.
Exit servant.
Now, Roscoe, to my couch. If my plot takes, I'm a happy man.
Enter Count Pirro.
Is your lord asleep?
I think not, my lord, but thus he lies. Heaven knows when this grief will end. My lord, the Count of Pirro.
I pray your lordship pardon me. At this time I'm not fit to entertain persons of your worth.
Alas, my lord, I know your grief.
Aye, 'twas that brought his good lordship hither.
You have lost a worthy and a hopeful son, but heaven that always gives will sometimes take, and there's no balsam left to cure these wounds but patience. There's no disputing with it, yet if there were, in what could you accuse those powers that else have been so liberal to you, and left you to bless your age a beauteous daughter?
Roscoe, aside.
Now it begins to work.
Your blood is not extinct, nor are you childless, sir. From that fair branch may come much fruit to glad posterity. Think on this, my lord.
I know I should not repine, my lord, but nature will prevail. I cannot help reflecting on my loss. Alas, my lord, you know not what it is to lose a son. 'Tis true I still have a child. Heaven has now confined my care to one. To see her well bestowed shall be the business of my life. Oh, my Eugenio!
Roscoe, aside.
Egad, he does it rarely.
Pirro, aside.
How shall I manage that he may not suspect my love to his daughter proceeds from his son's death? I was just coming to make a proposal to your lordship as the news reached my ear. I much fear the time's improper now to talk of business.
Pray heaven it be the business I wish. Were my grief more great, if possible, yet would I suspend it to hear my lord of Pirro.
Roscoe, aside.
Cunningly insinuated.
Your lordship is too obliging.
Not at all. Pray proceed, my lord.
It was, my lord, to have asked the fair Lucasia for my wife.
Roscoe, aside.
So he has swallowed the bait.
As I could wish.
'Twas not out of any consideration of her present fortune, my lord, I hope you'll not believe, since I designed it ere I knew Eugenio dead.
Aside.
I wish he may believe me.
If 'twas, my lord of Pirro does deserve it all, nor would I wish my child a better match. But 'tis too soon to treat of a marriage after such a loss.
Dear sir, consent to this good lord, so will your care be over, and hopeful grandsons make up poor Eugenio's loss.
What would you have me think of joy and death at once, and mingle the grave and marriages together?
If you'll consent, my lord, a private marriage may be had, and so dispense with the usual solemnities of joy. If you refuse me, I shall think you slight my claim.
That argument alone prevails. No, I will never give the Count of Pirro cause to doubt of my esteem.
Consider, my lord, she is an heiress. That may set bold desperate youths on rash attempts. And though they know Sicilian law gives death to him that steals an heiress, yet I'll not warn her safety till tomorrow night.
He's in the right, my lord.
Away, and call her, though she's disordered with her griefs. Now thou hast raised another fear, and my poor heart trembles for Lucasia, as it for Eugenio bleeds.
Exit Roscoe.
Within my arms she shall be safe and happy, the governor my noble uncle, and my friend, her great protector.
Enter Roscoe with Lucasia.
Come near, Lucasia. Like the ambassadors from this world's great rulers, I bring thee grief and joy. Pause not upon a brother's loss, though 'twas a dear one, but fix thy thoughts here, upon this lord. Thus I bequeath thee to the illustrious Count of Pirro.
Thus I with ecstasy receive her.
Kneels and kisses her hand.
You'll give me leave, my lord, to wake from this confusion. Isn't possible. Do I behold my father? Can he resolve at once to part with both his children? My brother, the best of men, no more will bless his roof, no more will grace this palace with his presence. Must I be cast out too? Far more unblessed than he who's lodged within the peaceful grave? Oh, send me to him, ere you condemn me to perpetual bondage, to a life of woe, to a marriage unthought of, unforeseen.
Madam.
Mind her not, my lord. 'Tis grief, 'tis mere distraction. She shan't dispute my will. Please to walk in, my lord. We'll peruse the writings of your estate, and hear what settlement you'll make her. And tomorrow the priest shall join you to alleviate her griefs and mine.
But to see her weep thus damps all my rising joy.
They are but virgin tears. Pray, come with me, daughter. You know my will. I expect you to be obedient. You know 'tis your duty.
I know 'tis, sir, but you, I hope, will give my tortured heart your leave to break, and that may shew my duty.
Fair Lucasia.
Oh, distraction!
Flings from him.
Pray come, my lord, let her have her way. The fits of women's grief last not long. At least when I command she shall obey.
Exeunt all but Lucasia.
A dismal sentence. It strikes me upon my soul, and raises terrors far more grim than death. Forgive me, brother, if to thy memory I pay not one tear more. All now are due to love, and my Palante.
Enter Laura.
You name the man that waits by me concealed, for one blessed minute to comfort his Lucasia.
All minutes now are cursed. No cheerful day will ever bring the lost Lucasia peace.
Come forth, sir. I believe you'll prove the best physician.
Enter Palante.
Oh, Palante, art thou come prepared to weep? Else for me thou art no fit companion, for I have news will rack thy very soul.
Yes, I have heard of brave Eugenio's death. He was thy brother and my early friend. Thus doubly tied, thou needst not doubt I mourn him truly.
Oh, poor Palante! So wretched Alcyone did at a distance grieve when she beheld the floating core, and knew not 'twas her husband.
What means my love?
Dost thou not love me, my Palante?
Oh, after so many years of faithful service, why am I asked that question?
It were better that thou didst not, for when thou hear'st the story, 'twill turn thee into marble, 'twill shock thy manly heart, and make each nerve lose its accustomed faculty, chill all thy blood, and make thine eyes run o'er like mine, for we must part forever.
Can that voice pronounce a sound so dreadful? Art thou then altered with thy fortune? Must I lose thee?
O thou unkind one, to suspect my love, my promised faith, or think me in the least consenting to my rigid father's will, who but now has given me to the Count of Piro.
Ha! To the Count of Piro, that lump of deformity. My sword has been my fortune hitherto, and ne'er was wont to fail its master, and whilst this arm can hold it, I'll maintain my right.
Which way, rash man? Is he not surrounded by numerous friends and waiting slaves? Does not inevitable death attend thy desperate purpose?
Then let that same sword, the old acquaintance of my arm, pierce its lost master's breast, and end my sorrows.
Forbid it, heaven! Is there no other way?
But one, and that I dare not name.
Oh, how has thy Lucasia, since first our mutual vows were plighted, given cause for doubt? Why dost thou fear to ask, since all is thine within the bounds of honour?
When I attempt aught against Lucasia, contrary to the nicest rules of virtue, may heaven and she forsake me.
Oh, I know it, and when I refuse what may advance our loves, may I be cursed with that hated Count of Piro. Speak, my Palante.
Can I? Ye all-seeing powers, move so bold a suit. Oh, let me humbly ask it on my knees, to quit a cruel father's house, and all the grandeur of a pompous court, to bear a part in my hard fortunes. Oh, 'tis too much to think, to wish, to hope.
Yes, dear Palante, more than this I do for thee. What's pomp and greatness when compared with love? Oh, that thou wert some humble shepherd on our Sicilian plain, I thy cheerful mate. You'd watch with pleasure till the evening tide, and wait thy blessed return with as much joy as queens expect victorious monarchs, and think myself more blessed than they. But, oh, Palante, thou know'st our country's laws gives death without reprieve to him that weds an heiress against her parent will, though with her own consent.
Who would not die to purchase thee? For I must die without thee.
No, live, Palante. We'll together tread the maze of life, and stand the shock of fate, the powers' decree, or both our happiness, or both our miseries. Where shall we meet? For I will leave this loathsome house before their watch grows stricter.
Wilt thou then forsake the world for thy Palante? Everlasting blessings fall around thee, and crown thy days and nights with peace and joy. Oh, my fond heart, I cannot half express the raptures thou hast raised, thou treasure of my soul. Let me embrace thee, and while thus I hold thee in my arms, I am richer than the Eastern monarch, nor would I quit thee to be as great as he. Oh, let but what my arms enfolds be mine. Take all the rest the world contains, my life.
My Palante.
I have an only friend, faithful and just as men of old before deceit became a trade. He shall assist us in our flight. He shall prepare a priest, if thou wilt meet me in the eastern grove. When we are wed, we'll fly to Spain, till time and friends procure my pardon.
In some disguise I'll meet thee there, just at the hour of noon, for then my father sleeps, and I will take the opportunity. And oh, I fear no danger but for thee.
For me there's none, whilst thou art safe, and with me thy loss alone can make Palante die.
Enter Laura.
Madam, your father.
Away, Palante, may all the powers preserve thee.
And thou the best of womankind.
Exeunt severally.
O love, thou hast joined a faithful pair. Guard my Palante, make him all thy care. Fate's utmost rigour we resolve to try, live both together, or together die.
Enter Count Gravello, Leric, and Lavinia.
Brother, you are welcome to the home of sorrow. But I have learnt so much philosophy, to cease to mourn when the cause is past redress. Once more, forgetting grief, you are welcome, you and my fair niece.
Thank you, brother. The girl's a foolish girl. Marriageable, but foolish. You understand me.
I thank you, sir.
Why, are you not a fool, hussy? Look'ee, brother, I have provided the minx a rich husband, a scholar, too. Body of me, bred all his youth at Salamanca, learned enough to commence doctor. I love a learned man, especially when riches, too, concur. He's the son and heir of my old friend Don Sancho of Syracuse. And the baggage cries, I hate him, and yet has never seen him. But she is in love, forsooth, with a young beggarly dog not worth a groat. But I'll prevent her, I'll warrant her.
Just my case. We are brothers in everything. My daughter, too, thinks her judgment wisest, and flies a fortune for a princess. But her reign's at an end. Tomorrow I'm rid of her. I warrant you, brother, we'll hamper the young sluts.
You may be both mistaken, old gentleman, if my cousin is of my mind.
What's that you mutter, Miss Littlewit?
I say I long to see my cousin Lucatia, sir. I hope that's no crime.
No, no. Roscoe, wait of her in to my daughter. And dost hear, Lavinia? Prithee, let obedience be thy study, and teach it her.
Lavinia, aside.
I'll warrant you, sir, I'll teach her to be obedient, if she'll but follow my advice. But 'tis something hard, though, uncle, to marry a man at first sight one's heard but an indifferent character of.
How, hussy, are you a judge of characters? Is he not a scholar? Answer me that.
A mere scholar is a mere... You know the old proverb, father.
Do you hear the perverse baggage? Get you out of my sight, hussy.
I am obedient, sir. I dare swear I shall find better company than two old arbitrary dons.
Exit with Roscoe.
Did you ever see such a slut? Body o' me, these wild wenches are enough to make old men mad.
My daughter is of another strain, solid as man, but obstinate as woman. But no matter, when she is married, my care is over. Let Count Piero look to it.
Count Piero? Body o' me, a mighty fortune for my cousin. Why, he's rich enough to buy a principality. My son's rich too, and a great scholar, which I admire above all things.
Enter Roscoe.
Oh, sir, such news, such a sight, sir.
What's the matter?
Don Sancho come to town in his Salamanca habit. His dress and grey phiz has alarmed the mob, that there's such a crowd about the inn door. I'll maintain his landlord gives him free quarter for a 12-month, if he'll let him expose to advantage. He makes as odd a figure, sir, as the famous Don Quixote when he went in search of his Dulcinea.
Brother, pray correct your servant. I like not his ridiculous jests upon the habit of the learned. My son-in-law that is to be minds nothing but his books.
Sir, I ask your pardon. My niggard stars have not allowed line enough to my judgment to fathom the profundity of your son's shallow capacity.
Bowing comically.
Peace, sirrah. Come, brother, now your son's arrived. I hope we shall have a double match tomorrow. We'll not consult the women, but force them to their happiness. Experienced age knows what for youth is fit. With wise men, wealth outweighs both parts and wit.
Exeunt. End of Act 1.